Yeah, can you please? Yeah.
Okay, sure. I got
It's
it.
in full screen.
Good morning, everyone. We shall wait for 1 more minute until all the attendees join in this session. Okay, let's start the session. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my webinar series on PFAS. In this webinar, we are going to discuss on how PFAS regulations are impacting the business worldwide. So the agenda for this webinar is, in this webinar, we are going to discuss the basic aspect of PFAS, followed by worldwide regulations. What all the legal obligations are there in different parts of this world. We are going to discuss about that, and what all the strategies are there in order to comply with PFAS laws, as well as what all the future scope can be expected in the area of PFAS, followed by what all the possible compliance solution available in order to comply with the PFAS laws worldwide. And at the end, we will be concluding this session. So let's move on to the webinar. So in this webinar, apart from speaker, everyone is muted. Also, we have recorded this session. Maybe we will be sharing this session with you within a couple of days. There may be a survey at the end of this webinar. You can provide us with your valuable feedback. Based on that, we can improve our further webinars. If you have any questions, drop them to our email and we will take up those questions separately. About myself, I am Hidayatullah. I have 5 years of experience working with various global regulations, and I am a compliance expert in APA. You can note my email ID here, and you can contact me anytime for any of your queries related to global regulations, compliance regulations, etc. A small introduction about APA engineering. Our company is a 23-year-old global company. We have certifications such as ISO 9001, 27001, and TISAC certification. We have 350 plus customers worldwide. Currently, we have 4 divisions in this. Compliance is one of the prime division. Then we have the engineering, sourcing, software division. We also have developed our internal compliance software, and our customers can purchase this software, which is specially designed to manage the compliance data of a company, the data of products that customer is selling to their customers. All these things we can access through a single window. In that aspect, we have created a internal software. We work on regulation such as we work on key regulations which are very popular in worldwide, such as IMDS, KIP, REACH, ROHS, obviously PFAS, conflict minerals, battery directive, German supply chain. We also have handled customers such as BMW, Mazda, Lamborghini, especially on compliance front. We have given services to them on REACH, ROHS, TASCA, Prop 65, PFAS, and many other compliance regulations. This is the overview of our compliance software. This is how will look like. This is how our software will look like. Through this software, we will be handling compliance data of our customers. In this software, you can identify the reach status or ROH status, Prop 65 status, and many other complete status of all of your parts. So let's start with the introduction. Let's get into the webinar and discuss about the PFAS. So what is PFAS? PFAS means perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substance. They are a group of man-made chemicals that have been used in a wide range of industrial and consumer products, and they are well known for heat, water, and stain resistant properties. PFAS means substance that include any member of class or fluorinated organic chemicals containing at least one fully fluorinated carbon atom. They are found in Teflon, foam, textiles, packaging, cosmetics, etc. A lot of products are there. In these categories, PFAS are generally found. The recent studies have shown PFAS can be dangerous to human health and the environment. These chemicals are highly resistant to degradation. That means they can remain in the environment for longer periods of time, and they can accumulate in the human body and also in the animals, and can cause damage to liver, and they can cause fertility issues, cancer, obesity, a lot of diseases through this PFAS. So it's time for a quick poll. In the screen, you can see a poll. There will be a question, and we expect you to give your answers, and we'll be giving you 30 seconds of time. Please, we are looking forward for your valuable response. So I hope everyone has given their response to the poll. So let's move on to the next slide. So till now we have studied what is PFAS and what are all the harmful effects caused by PFAS. So if PFAS have such a tendency to affect human health and environment, definitely these kind of substances should be regulated. And now we shall see in what way the whole world is regulating the PFAS, each country, and what kind of regulation are they enacted in order to regulate the world PFAS in their countries. So let's see. Actually, to say there is no any specific regulation for PFAS in any country to regulate the usage of PFAS. However, there are steps being taken to curb the PFAS usage by restricting its usage through other regulation. For example, European Union has implemented a number of regulations regarding PFAS, and they have considered it as a potential health and environmental hazard. With some types of PFA, they have associated it with cancer, immune system defect, and other adverse health effect. To speak specifically about the regulation appearing on the screen are the key regulation for PFAS in the European Union. The first is the REACH regulation. REACH is a regulation which regulate PFAS with strict registration and evaluation requirement. That means companies that manufacture, import, or use PFAS in the European market must register their substance with the ECHA, means European Chemical Agency, and provide information on their properties, uses, and potential risk. In this way, the PFAS are regulated under each regulation. Not only that, there are certain other regulation as well, like EU POP, that is persistent organic pollutant. As per this regulation aims to eliminate or restrict the use of hazardous chemicals that persist in the environment and can accumulate in the food chain. Some types of PFAS such as perfluorooctane sulfonic acid and perfluorooctanoic acid are listed as POPs and are subject to strict restriction on their production, use and disposal. Not only these two regulations, there are certain other regulations as well, like Water Framework Directive. The EU's Water Framework Directive set standard for quality of surface water, groundwater and coastal waters in the European Union. PFAS are included in the list of priority substances, which means that member states must monitor their levels in the water bodies and take action to reduce or eliminate their presence if necessary. Another one such regulation is Food Contact Materials Regulation. The EU Food Contact Material Regulation sets strict limit on the use of chemicals in material that come into contact with food. Some type of PFAS such as PFOA and PFOS are restricted in food contact materials due to their potential health risk. Likewise, European Chemical Agency, that is ECHA, they have also imposed certain restrictions. The ECHA has proposed this restriction on the use of certain types of PFAS, including perfluorohexane sulfonic acid, perfluorononanoic acid, and perfluorodecanoic acid. ECHA has imposed certain restriction on these PFAS. These restrictions would limit the use of these chemicals in a variety of products, including textile, leather, firefighting foams, etc. So in this way, European Union regulating the usage of PFAS through different regulation. So overall to say, the European Union has implemented a range of regulations to address the potential health and environmental risk associated with PFAS. These regulations aim to ensure that these substances are used safely and responsibly, and that their presence in the environment and in consumer products are highly minimized. So we have seen about the actions taken by European Union. Let's see about what are the actions taken by United States of America. So in the screen, you can see certain key regulation for PFAS in the United States. The first one is EPA's Lifetime Health Advisory. The US Environmental Protection Agency has set certain advisory level for two PFAS compound. One is perfluorooctanoic acid and other is perfluorooctane sulfonic acid. They have set a threshold at 70 parts per trillion in drinking water. This advisory is not enforceable, but it is intended to provide guidance to states and public water system on safe levels of exposure to these chemicals. The second such act, which used to regulate the PFAS, is Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act regulates the discharge of pollutant in the US waterways, including PFAS. The EPA has proposed adding certain PFAS compounds to this list of toxic pollutant under this act, which would allow more stringent regulatory limits on their discharge. The third one is the well-known TSCA regulation, that is Toxic Substance Control Act. The TSCA regulates the manufacturing, importation, processing, and distribution of chemicals throughout the United States. In 2019, EPA added almost 172 PFAS compound to the TSCA list of chemicals that are subjected to reporting requirements, which means that companies must report any production or importation of these PFAS compound to their concerned authority, that is the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Likewise, we have Food and Drug Administration in the United States. They have issued a guidance to the food industry on the use of PFAS in food contact materials. This guidance recommends that manufacturers avoid using PFAS that have been phased out or being phased out due to health and environmental concern. So with regards to United States, whatever the regulation we have seen till now, they are all applicable overall in the whole of United States. Now we shall see certain state federal regulation. That means those regulations which are applicable only in certain parts of United States. The one such important state is the Maine state. to tell about Maine state, it is the first state in United States to implement a complete ban on the use of PFAS. From 1st Jan 2023, the Maine state law requires manufacturers to report the product which intentionally added PFAS to their in their product, and they need to report this information to the concerned authorities. If anyone failed to report this requirement, they can't sell their product, especially products such as carpet, rug, fabric treatment. They can't sell this product in the Maine state if they have added the PFAS intentionally in their product. So not only that, effective from Jan 1 2013 to 2030, any product containing intentionally added PFAS may not be allowed to sold in Maine state unless there is an exception given by the Maine authority. With regard to compliance, the main important question after knowing the regulations which is being implemented worldwide, the question here is how to comply with these PFAS laws. So that's what we shall see in the upcoming slide. So if you take an example of Maine state PFAS laws, we need to follow certain procedure in order to comply with the PFAS regulation. This procedure is same for almost all the country-wise regulation. More or less it will be similar even if you take laws related to European Union, PFAS laws related to UK, Canada and all. You will be following the same type of procedure in order to comply with this law. The first thing is manufacturer have to provide certain information to the end customer, and this end customer will provide this information to the concerned authority, to the government authority. The information such as description of product which contains PFAS substance. If the product contains PFAS substance, the supplier or the manufacturer have to report the case number along with the portion of PFAS present in that product. Also, they have to inform the use of product, in what way the PFAS product is used. Also, address of the manufacturer. So, with regards to Maine state, if anyone failed to comply with this legal requirement before 1st January 2023, no product can be allowed to no product can be sold in the state of Maine. With regards to other countries like European Union, UK, Japan, Taiwan and all, that depends, the deadline depends on the regulation which their country has enacted. So with regards to Maine, if anyone doesn't comply with this requirement, they will be subjected to hefty civil and criminal penalties. It can be as high as $10,000 per day. So apart from Maine in United States, other states such as California, New York, Massachusetts, Oregon, Vermont, etc., also implemented the same type of reporting requirement to regulate the usage of PFAS in their products. Not only specific to United States, apart from United States and apart from European Union, several other countries such as Japan, UK, China, Taiwan, Singapore are also working to enact a state level similar regulation for regulating PFAS. So considering the harmful effect and the tendency to affect the human health and environment, we can expect a global level ban on PFAS usage in the near future. So we have right now learned what is PFAS and in what ways the whole world is regulating PFAS. So this is the situation currently. So with regard to the future scope of PFAS that we shall see in the upcoming slide. There are many updates in PFAS at the global level, and all these updates are likely to focus on certain key areas, such as development of safer alternatives. As PFAS are phased out of use, the development of safer alternative is likely to become a priority for many industries. This may involve the use of alternative product or material that can perform similar functions without the risk associated with PFAS. Another key area is remediation of contaminated sites. The cleanup of contaminated sites is likely to remain a focus in the future. As PFAS contamination is widespread and persistent, the development of new and innovative remediation technologies may be needed to address the challenge posed by PFAS contamination. The one more important key area is monitoring and research. Monitoring of PFAS in the environment, as well as researching into the health and environmental impact of these chemicals, is likely to continue in the future. This may involve the development of new monitoring techniques and the conduct of long-term studies to assess the impact of PFAS exposure. So apart from that, one more important key area to focus is international collaboration. Since it is a global issue, the participation of international communities, organizations, countries as is very much important. As the global nature of PFAS contamination becomes more apparent, international collaboration may become more important in the future. This could involve the sharing of data and best practices, as well as the development of coordinated approaches in order to address the PFAS contamination and the ways of regulation. So right now there are several countries and global organization has taken a step forward to identify the harm of PFAS group, and we can soon see a more stringent regulation to be enacted by different countries. It's time for a quick poll. A poll will appear on the screen once again. We request you to give your response to these polls. So I hope everyone has given their response to the poll. So let's move on to the next slide. So we have learned till now about PFAS, in what ways they are regulated, and how we need to comply with PFAS laws. But still, there are a lot of companies see this as a major challenge to comply with the PFAS laws worldwide. So to overcome this challenge, we have a possible compliance solution, uh, and we shall discuss about that in the upcoming slide. And that possibly compliance solution is offered by API Engineering. Here we offer services on many regulations apart from PFAS as well, like REACH, ROHS, TASCA, Prop 65. But with regard to PFAS, we render our service complete end-to-end support till your product is notified with the concerned authorities. If your country has a PFAS laws, and if you are in need of our compliance service, we will ensure that end-to-end support is provided to your organization until your product is notified with your concerned authorities. Also, we study your product to determine which product requires notification. We will also reach out to your suppliers to get chemical composition in order to identify whether any PFAS substance are present in any of your supply chains. We will consolidate the child part information to determine product level PFAS presence. Apart from that, we can also prepare a notification either through email or through software and share it with the concerned authorities. If you are a company located in Maine, we will share in accordance with the authorities requirement. Likewise, if you are a customer located in Europe or in UK, we will create our response or our notification which is compliant to your country specific regulation. For this whole process, we will be using our internal green check software. This green check software is specially designed in order to comply with the global compliance regulation. You can see certain screenshots of our internal software in the screen. We work on major regulation, including PFAS. Through the software, we will collect the data from the suppliers. We will consolidate them, and we will share it with the customer, with our customers, through a single window. So, why to use APA for compliance? We have a number of reasons, and a few of the important reasons are: we have a compliance expert team with more than 70 plus experienced members. We have deep domain expertise across different compliance verticals. We have also even worked with major OEMs like BMW, Lamborghini, Mazda. So we have deep knowledge how to deal with the problems which our current companies worldwide are facing with regard to PFAS as well as with regard to different regulations. Another important thing of our organization is we have developed internal IT tools for process automation. We have a domain expert available at all time, and they are available at a phone call away. We can also offer multi-language support. So concluding this session, if your part is sold in any country where a PFAS regulation is implemented, hasten to comply with the new regulation. Otherwise, you may be subjected to hefty penalties. One more point is, if your country still has not implemented laws regulating PFAS, then be prepared, be ready, because your product may be subjected to PFAS regulation at any time. The third thing is, if your country implementing a PFAS regulation, but there is not any hefty penalty for non-compliance, then don't wait for, do not risk your business. Don't wait for it for you to get imposed with a hefty penalty. The penalty would be millions of euro or millions of dollars. So in order to avoid those things, we need to hasten to comply with the new regulation. So all the duty holders, all the stakeholders in the supply chain, act immediately if not started. So these are all certain screenshots of our compliance software. If you need any demo of about these softwares, we can schedule a session with you. You just need to drop an email to us asking for a demo of these softwares, and we will schedule our meeting accordingly. So once after this webinar is completed, a survey will be initiated before the closing the webinar window. Kindly fill it to help us improve in the upcoming session. Followed by there will be a Q&A session in the upcoming slides. So our experts are available here to answer your questions. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section, or you can drop them to our email. We will go through your questions and we'll come back to you with a possible solution as soon as possible. If you have any questions right away, you can drop them in the comment section. So, okay, we got a question from one of our attendees. They are asking, in general, does PFAS has any threshold? Yes, PFAS has threshold, meaning there is a level of exposure below which adverse health effects are unlikely to occur. However, the threshold levels for PFAS exposure can vary depending on the specific PFAS compound and the health effect being considered. So these thresholds are depend on the type of PFAS compound and the tendency of how much effect it can create if they interact with the human. and the environment. Additionally, some health effects may occur at levels of exposure below the established threshold, particularly for more sensitive people like old people or children or those individuals with a compromised immune system. It is important to note that scientific understanding of PFAS toxicity and exposure is still evolving, and threshold levels may be revised as a new research becomes available. So I hope you got the answer for my question. We got one more question from one of our attendees. They are asking, does sorry, does this threshold is same in all the countries? We can't say it is same in all the countries. It depends on the type of regulation enacted by those governments. Because certain PFAS are there, they are considered to be completely prohibited in certain countries. Likewise, that same PFAS in other countries are not completely prohibited, but they are prohibited above a certain level, above a certain threshold. So it depends on the type of country, the type of law which is being implemented in that country. So if you belongs to that country, as per your legal requirement, you have to follow your legal obligations. So I hope it is clear to you from my end. If there is not any question, we shall wind up this session. And if you get any questions in the near future, you can drop an email either to me or to the email ID appearing on the screen, compliance@apiengineering.com. We have provided our website link here in the screen. You can go through our website and can learn about and can know about what all the type of service we are offering. So we have came to an end now. I hope this session has made you understand PFAS in a very better way. Feel free to contact us at any time. We will respond to you with a clear solution as soon as possible. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.